loud. Okay, well, shoot. So I watched the video, most of it. Like I think I missed like a few minutes towards the back end to make sure I could follow Vince closely. What happened with you this week, walking wise?
It's it's really interesting to like have, I'm just getting out of like, I got 17 million tabs open from teaching all day. Just some of those. Before
Yeah,
the
find
internet crashes me.
get on your course. Yeah, I'll give you a chance to find it.
There we are. There we are. I think I've gotten rid of a lot
Oh,
of.
there she is. Look at that.
Yes. Ah, this is good.
She got on her phone though instead of her
Yeah.
computer. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
let's start with that.
Okay. Hopefully she'll be able to unmute.
Hey,
Oh,
Jan,
it's looking better.
Okay, how about this? Can you hear me?
I can.
All right. Well, I guess I could do this by my phone, but I'm used to my computer. Do I have to get an email for that to get on my computer? For the
No,
link?
no, you do have to get onto the community. You have to get on Mighty Networks, Jan.
Okay, well, I was on that, so I'm going to give this a try, okay? Just a minute. We'll give it another try.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so we'll just talk through it, and I know because last time I got on it. Okay, here I am. Then it says get started, and I go on to Mighty Network. So now I am, okay, I've got members, table of contents, feed, events.
Right. Are you in the CWIT 2024 course?
Uh-huh. Winter.
Okay.
Chihuahua.
Good. Good. So you want to go into the feed.
Feed, okay, this feed. Okay, I'm under feed.
And what do
Now,
you see?
I see, hello, Allison and Jan. This is from Vince.
Yep.
Showing everything. CWIT class of 2024. Is that what I should click on?
No. Do you see where it
Zoom.
says?
Oh, here, you are being rated. Try again. It's got this little zoom, a tiny circle.
No, no, no,
Okay.
no, no. Jan, listen.
No?
Jan, listen to me, okay? So
Okay.
go up to the top where it says hello, Allison and Jan. Do you see that?
Just a second. I'll get there. Recording in progress.
Okay, there you go.
I'm on.
Come on.
Good job.
Yay.
Yay.
Okay, so
uh,
it's echoing, so I gotta turn off this one on my phone.
You need to sign
Yeah.
off your phone.
Now I'm perfect. Perfect.
Okay.
Well, not quite, but I'm pretty good. Anyway, but what I wanted to tell you is just to remind myself, it is feed. That's what I go under once I get there.
Right. What do you see on your screen right now?
Right now I see the Zoom. You guys.
Right. Okay. So I'm sharing my screen right now. Do you see what I'm sharing? Do you see what I'm sharing, Allison? No, you don't. Oh, okay, wait, hang on.
Just because
I'm gonna do it. Okay, now you should see it. Hang on a sec. I don't want to share that. I want to show you Phooey. It's not what I select the window. Oh, okay, I get it. Okay, so I want to share the screen right now so you guys can see lesson 4 lower body focuses.
I can see share screen. Cheryl has started to share the screen.
Mm-hmm. So you see, what am I sharing? Lower body focuses,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
Okay, good.
now I see it. Mhm.
Okay, good. Okay, so what I want to show you guys, see next week, so now you should be seeing on your screen, table of contents with all the different
Yep.
lessons, right?
Right.
Okay. So see where it says feed, I'm going to click on feed. Jan,
Feed.
that's where you're going to find the link every week. When you want to get on Zoom, there's the link right there, right there.
Okay.
See that?
At,
It looks,
oh, that link. Oh,
yeah,
hello, link. Okay, got it.
that's what you clicked on to get on right now.
I did not actually, but maybe I accidentally did. I thought I clicked on Zoom, the circle at the bottom of that
Mm,
little blue circle. You are being
okay.
rated. Try again later and then, but I'm on. So normally
Yeah.
I will click on the URL though, that's right there.
You should. Don't ignore the you are being rate limited. Try again later. I'm not sure why that came up. But just make sure you click on that. Now
Okay.
I want you guys to notice your events. So if I click on the events page, okay, so you can see that today we're doing lesson 4, lesson 5, and lesson 6, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And you notice that today it also says quiz. You see
Ooh.
that? Okay.
Yes.
So Vince just told me a few hours ago that he is not going to post this quiz until next week.
Oh, that's really
Okay.
nice.
Even though
Okay.
it says today, he's going to post it next week. Now, if he misspoke, don't blame me. He'll, so keep an eye on the feed, you guys. Okay.
Okay.
And I will too, but he clearly told me this afternoon he was not going to post it until next Tuesday.
And it will be under feed.
And when he posts it, it'll be under feed, and it'll be a link that kind of looks like that. Unless he doesn't, he might post the link under events. Okay. But the point is, keep an eye on the feed. And next week, Vince will be teaching you guys, and I'll switch back to the Chi Runners. Okay. So, but I'll keep an eye on it this week in case he got confused and he really is going to post it. Now, let's talk about the quiz for just a second. The quiz is, it's a 2-hour time limit. It's open book. You can get on anytime for a week. So you want to get on any time and finish the thing. It's open book. You need to score 90% or better, which you should be able to do because it's open book. You've got, your table, you've got all the lessons there. Everything is in the lessons. So
yeah,
you should not do well on this. Okay.
Can you pause it?
You can't pause it. We've had people pause it and come back to it and then been dumped off, and then Vince has had to reset it. So please don't do just get it done in the 2 hours. And honestly, it probably won't take you 2 hours. If you review all the lessons that we've done up till now, and go through it. If you have any questions, you can text or email Vince or I, and then and then start your test. But it shouldn't take you that long. Okay, hang on a second. I was putting alarms out to Vince, so I want to reassure him that you made it on, Jan.
okay, I'm gonna grab my pen. Be right back.
Okay. Okay. And I am going to.
All right, I'm
All
here.
right. Okay, well, before you got on, we were talking about how it was going for you and what was going on. I did tell Allison, I'll tell you too, Jan, that I did watch the video you guys did last week that Vince recorded, so I could get a sense of where you guys are at. Really, what I want you to do tonight is I want you to teach. Last week, you didn't do any teaching, really. So I really want you to teach me and whoever the other person is going to be. And I'd like to start, since you guys went over, we're supposed to go over lesson 4, 5, and 6 today, and we'll try and do that. But really, what's more important, and Danny tells us this all the time, is teach, got to get your students to teach. So I really want to make that a bulk of our evening tonight. So that you can, get some feedback and you just get practice teaching. So that said, I'm gonna keep screen sharing so you guys can see where I'm at. I'm clicking on ankle lift and chi walking. So that first part of this lesson, I know Danny, I know Vince talked about finding your dantian. So who would like to teach that little section? And that would be that one right there.
I would love to teach that section.
Awesome. Okay, teacher, what would you like us to do?
Okay. Sorry, this is such an awkward space I have to inhabit. It's all right. Okay,
do your best.
I'll do my best. My computer just has to be kind of down. All right. I'd like for us to talk about, oh, you're going to keep it up. Okay. Oh, that's convenient. Oh my gosh.
What?
Yeah, I noticed that you had the lesson up.
Yes, I did. I put the lesson up so you can see what I'm looking at, and you can do the same. Yeah.
Me too. Okay. All right. So I think I'd like for everybody to stand up. And we're going to talk about and explore and find this idea of a dantian. I can't really tell what you can see of me because of the screen sharing. So if this isn't working for you, Cheryl, just let me know.
Okay.
Okay.
I can't see your whole body, but I'm guessing that your computer isn't high enough to.
Not high enough, no.
Yeah, and you've got a small area. I can see you well, Jan, but that's okay.
I'm just going to make one little tiny move here that might help. It's not going to let you see too much, but
that's okay. If you can you do you have a laptop that you can move your screen up and down like this?
I can just fold and unfold.
Okay. Because if you can fold your screen down, I lose my head, but now you can see my feet, which is important when we're talking about chi walking.
There, that's better.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, good enough, right?
Yeah.
You're right. Okay. So I'd like to talk about just this idea of a dantian, and that it is the storage center of energy for the body. We could think of it as life force. It's close to where the body's center of mass is, but I think, conceptually thinking of it as energy center is a good place to begin. And its location, we're going to be able to find, and we'll start just by putting thumbs together and putting them on our belly button, and then dropping our fingers down so it's kind of a little heart shape, and then picture, and this is a visualization process. We're not going to be actually able to physically touch it, but if we take an index finger and think of the center of that heart, so a couple inches below your belly button. You can push in a little bit and then imagine your finger going in a finger length worth. Then you're going to be hitting right around where that energy center is. So so we have an idea of where that is. The other thing, and I have can I interrupt with a question?
Sure.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
one of the words they used in the script was apex of feet, and I was not sure anatomically what they were referring to as the apex of the feet.
Ah, okay. That would be your feet. So if you're standing, you want to set your students up so you're standing shoulder width apart. So a little more than hip width apart, which is what we do in posture. So you're standing shoulder width apart. And apex,
Shoulder, yep.
okay. So apex of your feet, apex meaning something that comes together. So if you think of a line that starts at the top right, intersecting your big toe, and it comes up in an apex, and it ends in that center in your dantian. So think of a triangle, and your dantian is at the apex of the triangle.
I got it.
Right?
Perfect.
Yeah, good question. And I think there's a picture in there, Allison.
There is.
Yeah.
There is, and I wasn't sure when they were referring to like the dantian part. Okay, so they're looking at the dantian as the apex of the triangle.
Correct.
Got it. Okay.
So I have a question about the feet. Are we supposed to say, imagine your big toe as the base, both big toes, or is it further in, more like your ball of your foot?
Good question. So remember in setting up people's alignment and posture, they're focusing on that tripod, right? Under the big toe and the little toe. So again, you're doing the same thing. Your balance is over that tripod. Even though your feet are further apart, they're shoulder width, you're still balanced over that tripod. So good question. You should be able to feel your big toes. Absolutely.
So I think I might say, okay, so the apex, the top of the triangle is where you felt your dantian, and then the base is right sort of in the middle of your foot, just in the middle of your foot, sort of between your big toe and your little toe.
Yeah, I see the questions. I see where you're going with this, Jan, and certainly you're absolutely right. Because if your foot is balanced over the big toe and the little toe, then it will be between the two, of course. Yep, that apex, that line would be not drawn from the big toe; it'd be drawn from maybe the second or the third.
Yeah,
toe.
which it looks like it is in this picture. Yeah.
Yes, indeed, indeed. Okay. Allison, continue with that next paragraph.
Okay. So let's go ahead and get in a good posture stance so we can start to feel the power of this energy center, the dantian. And we're going to stand with our feet about shoulder width apart, okay? And we can still, from this position, keep our knees soft, and we can lengthen through the crown of our head and engage our lower abdominals. And we can now go ahead and put your thumbs back, create that heart shape again, where the thumbs are going to be in your belly button, and you're going to put the bottom of the heart down. So now we're really putting our mind where that dantian is, about a finger's width in. Okay.
And tell me more about your dantian, where it's located. and how does what does it mean?
So the Dantian is the energy storage location of the life force. I don't know if you ever refer to Eastern philosophy or not. Do you?
No, because you don't want to give the impression that people have to understand that or learn it. So you want to be very simplistic, and with the Dantian, you want to be very concise. And if people have issues around Eastern philosophy, then you want to use center of mass, which I frequently do when I'm introducing the term Dantian. I'll say your Dantian or your center. Your center. Your center is, and it's the same thing. It's where your chi is. It's where your storage of your energy is.
Center of mass. Okay, that's good. That's
yeah.
Okay. So
what I'm looking for is I'm looking for people. It is an energy place, but it's also a location. And yet, because it's a location, it's not a specific location. So this is where people get confused is, okay, you're telling me to put my hand in my thumbs in my belly button and then put my finger in. Okay, so is that my Dantian? So really what you want to describe to people is when they put their finger in the middle of that heart, is that it's a good 2 inches, maybe more or less, depending on how broad people are here, into your belly, deep into your belly. And it's not a point, it's a group of muscles. It's a group of stuff. It's an area, basically. And when people are learning about this area, about their Dantian, and this is what I went through, is imagine a big orange ball in the middle of your belly, because we're such visual people, it's hard for us to imagine anything smaller. And we want to imagine something that can move us, because what's the next step is drop your mind into your center and move your center. So if you can imagine a big ball in your center, it feels more solid, feels more real to people than if you imagine a small spot that's defined by your pointing with your finger. Does that make sense, you guys?
Got it.
yeah, that's a much more vibrant description. I like that addition to the script a lot.
Yeah.
So we want to add that this is not your core.
Correct.
Your core is a group of muscles, and the Dantian is not your core.
And that is a quiz question.
There you go.
That's a quiz question. Okay.
It is a quiz question. So that you have, and that you want to make that distinction with people. This is a location in your belly. It's not an anatomical thing that, modern medicine names it. It's not going to be in an anatomical book, your Dantian or your center. And it's not, you can't say, well, it's your, it's your appendix and your colon and your descending colon, maybe a piece of your liver, some of your internal oblique. It's a location. The more I've heard Danny talk at length about this, and this is just an inside thing to get you guys, I want you guys to have a thorough understanding of what your Dantian is, because it's so central to the technique. And Danny will often say that, start with a big ball so people can visualize that in their head. Think of this huge thing in your belly. Now move that. And as you get better at at bringing your mind, dropping your mind into your center, that ball actually shrinks. It gets smaller and smaller and smaller, because you don't need to direct that much energy. It's kind of like the whole needle and cotton thing. When you think about needle and cotton, right? Y'all with me, right? If you think think about needle and cotton, arms, are like the cotton, legs are cotton, everything's relaxed, and you're rotating around this needle. When you first start thinking about the needle, think, you know, most people are like planks. I mean, they have this plank through their body. In other words, things are so tense, you can see the tension in their body. And as people begin to relax and rotate that needle around, or rotate their arms and legs around the needle gets smaller and smaller. It gets tinier and tinier, so that the needle becomes a real needle instead of a plank, you know? So, and you can think of the same thing with the dantian. You know, your dantian gets smaller and smaller because it's more and more powerful. Doesn't need to be big anymore. It just needs to be a connection with the mind. So that's some pretty esoteric stuff, but the point being is, you know, really try and get, this is the first time people are going to hear what this thing called your dantian. And you don't want to gloss over it quickly like it's a, you know, it's just something that we talk about when we talk about chi walking. No, it is the thing. You know, it is the thing.
So can I have a question
Yeah.
about moving the dantian? So when so we say, okay, here's the ball. Now we're going to move the ball to the front. Okay, you could. Do most of your students feel like their body's moving to the front with the ball? Or like we're going to move the ball to the back? I could have, for me, because I've studied energy and everything, I can totally imagine moving this ball without moving my body. But that's not the response you get from students, am I right?
Correct. Yeah, the ball is in your body. The ball is attached to your body. So if you're, you know, moving the ball outside your body, that's pretty advanced martial arts. That's standing on this side of the room and, you know, pushing the other guy over on his back when he's standing 20 feet from you. And
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, and Danny will tell you he's seen it. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, these people I can't even imagine it. I mean, but that's a really great question, Jan.
Okay.
Some people will tell you, you know, they'll go, well, I'm moving my dantian. How come I'm not going anymore? Or I don't understand how my mind is moving my dantian. Well, put your mind in your center and move it. So let's do that. Jan, why don't you, actually, Allison, why don't you finish what you're going to do? Show us how we can move our dantian. So you've just set it up. You've told people where their dantian is now, and now you're going to teach us how to move it.
Okay, so I love the idea of an orange ball. So we have an orange energetic ball that is in the location, you know, of this center of the heart, but internal. And we want to take our mind is going to we're going to put our mind into our center and move from the dantian. The dantian is going to move our body. So the mind is going to move the dantian is going to move the body. So let's get a feel for what that feels like. We're going to again lengthen our crown. We're really focusing on, we've got a good posture. We're going to be focusing on the orange ball, and we're going to start, and we have to make sure we've got that lengthening. We're going to start by using our mind to move the orange ball back and forth to the left and the right.
Yep.
Okay. And see what you're feeling. Are you feeling the weight shifting? Do you feel your hips shifting back and forth, or do you feel your weight shifting back and forth?
Okay, now hold on for a second. If I'm moving my dantian back and forth, what is necessary for my body to do in order to do that. In other words, if my mind is dropped into my dantian and I'm moving my dantian,
Then
to
the
move-
body will just follow.
how's the body going to follow? How's it going to do that efficiently? It's right there in that paragraph in the middle of the screen. Your body will follow as long as your
Long as your
column
column is engaged.
engaged. Yes. Yes. Yep. So you've done the whole posture alignment thing, and when you start to talk about your dantian, set people up. So you want to start by aligning their feet and legs, lengthening from the crown of their head, and then checking in to see that they're balanced over that tripod, that they can see the tips of their toes or their ankles, and then have them step into a shoulder width apart stance and place their hands to make that heart. So now what you've done is you've got them engaged. They're in good posture. They're aligned. They're sitting up in their chair, so they're aligned, right? So then as you start to have them move, they're not going to do, remember the weight shift exercise? If your core is not engaged, you're going to be doing, J-Lo or Project Runway, right? So if I'm not engaged, if I don't have good posture and I just start to move my dantian, it's going to look like this. But if I'm engaged and I'm moving my dantian, it's going to look like this. Yay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. And then, so I've gone side to side, and then what?
And now with our mind again, we're going to try moving it forward and rearward.
Right.
Continuing to keep our column engaged. And do you have them keep the heart shape and move into it at this point, or is that just for the walking?
No, you can have them hold on to that. It gives you a physical sense, of where the dantian is. So certainly you can have them, move forward and backwards, because you're giving them permission to fall into their hands. It's a cue that really works. Last week Vince had you walking and he had you falling and, pressing into your belly so that you had a sense of moving from your center, right? You can do the same thing in this exercise. Absolutely.
So falling into the hands, and then do you have a particular cue for going backwards?
No, just don't fall over.
Don't fall over backwards, but move that orange ball backwards.
Yep. Now,
Okay.
Allison, you asked a really interesting question last week on video. You asked about balance.
Yes.
And, yeah. And being a physical therapist, I'm guessing that you work with the elderly, possibly, and also Parkinson's patients.
And brain injuries, right? It's like the neurological aspect of balance of.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. So certainly as a PT, that, safety first, you don't want to let people fall down. With Parkinson's people or people that have difficulty with balance, moving their dantian is going to put them off balance. So you have to be very careful with that, because as you know, I'm not a PT, but I'm a nurse, and I've worked with Parkinson's patients and elderly people. It's very hard for them to get started in movement, right? But once they do, it's hard for them to stop. Right? So you have to be very careful when you're having them understand this technique. Sometimes having them fall forward is not a good idea. Okay.
Not if you want them to not fall on their face.
Exactly. But what I found with people with neurological disorder is that they can really benefit, obviously, from posture and alignment and ankle lift and relaxation. That's certainly useful, and small steps, really small steps. So
Do you
don't
have
fall over.
I also felt like the lengthening the crown of the head and engaging their lower abs was a fabulous tip for just practicing, like in standing.
Oh, yeah.
to just get that sense of, because it tends to be like this, like nothing's working, right?
Right.
But that concept of getting more upright, I think is, those are some simple cues, I think, to help them.
Yes.
So I don't know, I was really curious. I was trying to put those pieces together last week.
Absolutely. Yeah, Dan, did you have a comment?
Yeah, so, okay, if you wanted to sort of someone who doesn't have great balance, but you want to use this to help improve their balance, is there any language that you use for that? I call it, you guys are so good at this, languaging. What is the languaging you
What is
use?
the languaging? Yeah. So last week, Vince talked to you about alignment and one-legged posture stance. And I think that's a really good place to get people in balance. I think a lot of physical therapists use, the half Bosey ball, and have people stand on the, that half ball that's really soft. And just having them, that's an advanced balance exercise, but to do it on the ground first with just one leg at a time. And, Vince talked about really lengthening from the crown of their head, just like what Allison was saying. If you could just get people to lengthen and have good alignment, that's the first step in posture. And then after
Yep.
that, just having them walk in place and just ankle lift. We're going to do this in a second. Ankle lift, and stop. And if their core is engaged, if their core is engaged, balancing on that one leg, that can be a huge aha moment for people. It's like, wow, I can stand on one leg and I'm not shaky. And you can have them balance on one leg with their foot that's up actually still be like just a little bit weighted.
Yeah.
Right? Do this with me, you guys. Stand up and just walk in place like you're teaching people now how to ankle lift. Okay, and remember, ankle lift, this is the reason people learn chi walking in the chi running class is to learn how to relax your feet. So this is really key for both chi walking and chi running. You're walking in place, practice stopping right in the middle of your walk. Practice stopping with one leg up. A really good test of your own balance is, am I stable? Are my hips level? Am I dropping my hips with my core engaged? Remember your core, your glutes, all the glutes, everything around your hips, and then your core abs. So yeah, that's what I would use, is starting with posture and using that one leg posture stance. And if you're really talking about strength and wanting to improve strength, then get a ball or go fast when you walk in place. Once somebody gets this, then have them start walking in place quickly and stop, quickly and stop.
Mm,
See if they can balance.
good ideas. Yeah.
Red light, green light.
What's that?
I said red light, green light.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah, that's good. Okay, we're going to speed up a little bit here because we're not doing too bad, but we're probably not going to get through the whole thing. Okay. The last part. So when you're introducing your Dantian, you guys, just to review quickly, you're first having them move their Dantian from side to side and point out to them that as long as their core is engaged, you can move your Dantian. And then have them move their Dantian forward and back. Carefully do that. If people, you're going to notice that your lower legs tense up, which is not what we want to have happen, but you don't need to point it out. It's just what happens when you move your body forward, your legs are going to tense. Now, when you move your body forward in both running and walking, obviously, if you move your body forward, you just pick up your feet to continue to walk so that your legs aren't tense. And then you can rotate your dantian. So you can rotate your dantian. Always connect mind to body, mind to center. When you connect mind to center, the center moves the body, mind to center. Usually what people do is they think mind to body. So that's the difference that we're changing here. We're changing, my mind wants to move my arm. What we're changing is my mind is dropping into my center that is moving my arm. Okay, so that's the difference, and that's the part that is challenging for people to get, especially when it comes to arm swing.
Well, it's actually, and I know we spent a lot of time on it, but I wanted to go first because I knew that I was the weakest on this, because I'm much more an anatomist. Like I am the mind body person. I'm not the mind centered person. So thank you for tuning it all.
You bet. No, I'm right with you there. I'm right with you. Yeah. And, the breakthrough for me when I was learning Chi running was to, one of the things I did, you guys, is I got into long distance running for a reason, because I wanted to find out if in a state of exhaustion and weariness, could I continue to focus and have these focuses make a difference? And, when you're doing a 50 miler or 50K or a marathon or anything that's a long distance for you, whatever that is, there gets to a point where you're just in survival mode. And so what if survival mode could be transformed to getting the most energy out of my body? How would that look? So the breakthrough that I had was my first 50 miler that I did. And it was all about the focus. It was all about this. It wasn't about my legs. And it was transformational. So it is quite a difference when you get to that point. You don't have to do a 50 miler to get there, but if you're tired, it's a good place to practice. Because then your mind, the only thing you can do is focus on one thing at a time, right? You can't really think about anything else but one thing. So when you're exhausted, you got to pick the thing that's going to make the difference. And usually it's lengthen, focus on my center, fall forward. That's it. That's all you can think about. So, and when you are forced to do that, then that's when you get how powerful that is, right? Okay.
So Cheryl, it's the same with walking, what you just said. Lengthen, focus on your dantian, and fall forward, right?
Correct.
We fall forward when we're walking. That was my question. That's no difference.
That's correct. That's correct. And your alignment is a little bit different. We'll talk about that in a sec. Well, let's talk about it now. So your alignment is a little bit different. Vince talked about how when you are walking in place, you focus your mind on your center and you tilt the statue a little bit. So you go from here to here. It's very minor. Do you remember that from last week when he talked to you about that?
Yes.
Okay.
A little bit.
Okay. So you tilt the statue a little bit, and that's different from Chi running. Okay. So in Chi running, you fall forward and my alignment stays the same. In Chi walking, you tilt. This is called your statue. So from your groin, right here, not your hips, your groin, from your groin up is your statue. And when you tilt the statue, then that's how you help your dantian move forward. Okay, so everybody, let's do that. I know you guys have small spaces to work with, but let's do that.
I will. I'm coming.
Okay.
Help the statue.
Okay, so let's go ahead and check in with your posture. So align your feet and legs, lengthen or hang your skeleton off of a tree. It's Halloween. Danny just introduced that last week. That was pretty cool. He goes, yeah, if you just hang your skeleton, everything drops into place. Okay. So hang your skeleton and check to see if you're aligned. Okay. That's pretty good. Okay, then start walking in place. And what are we doing when we walk in place? Either of you want to tell me what's going on here?
We're lifting our ankles and that makes our hips swivel. Or no, that
not
makes our
yet.
hips swivel. Elbows do that.
Yeah, you're ahead of the game here a little bit. When I'm walking in place, what is lifting my legs?
Your psoas.
Yay!
What did you say?
The psoas muscle?
The psoas muscle. Okay, so
Oh, the psoas. Oh, yes, right.
so last week you guys were struggling with trying to find a picture of the psoas. So here's a picture. So here's a picture of the psoas. So the psoas muscle is that big old guy that connects at the lesser trochanter on the femur, and it goes up here to T12, where that first rib comes out, right? It goes deep inside the pelvis. And you notice how it's nice and long and straight right here in this picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where it can contract. If your psoas is not contracted, in other words, it's not stretched out, let's say you're bent at the waist, or you're sticking your rear out, or you're even back here, that psoas can't lift effectively. Okay, it's like think of it as a rubber band. It's the only muscle in your body that connects the leg to the spine. So its job is to lift your leg. It's a hip flexor. Okay, you have other hip flexors, but this sucker is huge. So it can lift your leg very efficiently. So if you're walking in place, it should be really easy. And like you said, Allison, I mean, Jan, your ankle is coming up higher than your foot. You're relaxing your feet. Your toes are dropping. Okay. And now I'm going to focus my mind on my center and just move from there. And you'll notice that people will naturally break at the waist like that. And you notice that that's not in, it's not in the, it's not in the script. In other words, what I'm telling you guys is not in the script about breaking at the waist and creating that statue. So if you look at the screen I'm on, move from your dantian, align your posture, lift at the crown of your head and feel your core engaged. Lift your ankles, peel your feet, and then start moving forward. That's the script. Okay, so that's how you want to start people walking. And notice how when you start people walking, you're starting by telling them to move from your dantian. That's why it's so important for you to teach them that focus, your mind to your center. And all 4 steps for starting Chi walking are in that piece right there, number 3. It says move from your dantian. All 4 steps are in there. Okay. So let's see, let's go down here. So if you scroll down, you see I'm scrolling down. So the 4 steps of Chi walking. Engage your column, start walking in place, move your dantian ahead of your feet to move forward, and bring in your arm swing. Okay, so what I want you guys to start, let's do those 4 steps. We've talked about a lot of stuff. Vince talked about it last week too. Let's have you practice those 4 steps. So who wants to go first?
So I'll go first.
Okay.
So where am I? Oh, okay, you can see me. All right, so the first thing that I do is align, get my line, and by feet being fist apart and the orientation being front, and then lifting up the crown of my head and letting everything else hang from that. And then the next thing is to start moving to start the ankles moving, and then moving the dantian, and that gets me walking. And after I walk and start moving, then I start moving my elbows.
Okay, good. That's a good first start, Jan. Do you want to add anything to that, Allison? Would you add anything to what she described?
I think on the walking in place part,
Okay.
once we've gotten aligned and we've lengthened at the crown, and we've checked our alignment by maybe peeking down at at our shoes to make sure we can see the bows. Our feet are relaxed, but we're lengthening. Then while we're engaged, we're going to just go ahead and lift our ankle and let our foot peel off the ground, and then put it back down, and then lift the other one while keeping our column fully engaged, and then start walking in place. And it should feel quite effortless of just picking up your ankles and letting the toe kind of hang down. And go ahead and do that for a little bit to see what that feels like.
Okay, so how do I start moving forward?
Adding on.
Okay, good. Good. I like the fact that you talked about engaging your center, engaging your column. That's really important. So setting up, when you're talking about setting up your column, go ahead and, the first couple times you guys go into a little bit of detail. So people are clear that alignment is really important. So, it says the first step is to engage your column. Well, go ahead, like Jan did, set up your feet in alignment, soften your knees, make sure you're balanced over that tripod, lengthen from the crown of your head, engage your core. Every time you start something with people, talk about those steps of aligning. I know it doesn't say this in the script. You can do it quickly. Engaging your column, though, remember, is after you've lengthened from the crown of your head. Really attach those things together. If you lengthen from the crown of your head, engage your core, sometimes, for me anyway, when I lengthen, that's a good cue for me to attach my mind to my center, to my dantian as I engage. It's like, okay, there's my dantian, boom. And then walking in place, yeah, that ankles, relaxing your feet. I liked what you said, Allison. You said dropping your toes. That's really important because you really want to watch people when they're walking in place. They're going to do stuff like this. They're going to flex their feet, and their feet are going to be tense. Why? Because that's how people walk. They walk with their feet tense. So you really want to watch that the toes are dropping. And when you demonstrate this, you're not bringing your legs up off the ground that much, right? You're just moving your weight from side to side and lifting your knees. Okay, and you're really watching for that relaxation. If you have somebody who doesn't understand how to relax their feet, have them flex their feet really hard. Have them mimic you. Okay, do this. Do you feel the tension in your feet? Okay, now stop doing that and relax. Let your toes drop. And likewise, you don't want people to be pointing their toes. Okay, this is not about pointing your feet. It is about relaxation. You're lifting with your psoas muscles and you're relaxing your feet. One of the big ahas for a lot of people when they're walking in place, and I'll point this out to them, is notice you can lift your feet without pushing off.
Mhm.
You know, there's no push in that foot. I mean, you could do it. You can, to get people to feel that sensation, have them push to lift their foot. Huge amount of tension in their ankle and their calf, right? Then go back to just gently lifting. You can even put your hands in your groin. And I have people do this right here. I have them put their hands right here. And when they're in good posture, I have them lift. And you can feel those hip flexors. Those are the big hip flexors of the thighs, right? But they're operating very efficiently. There isn't a lot of stress there. It's really easy. If you bend over, you can feel those hip flexors engage even more muscle down the front of the thigh, right? Because it becomes very inefficient, and because the only thing that can lift your legs are those big hip flexors on top of your thigh. Very inefficient. Once you come up again, those big hip flexors don't have to work so hard because your psoas is working to lift your leg.
I notice whenever I do the lift of the ankle, it feels like I'm a puppet because I am a puppeteer, but it feels like my feet are like a puppet, like lift
Yeah.
up, come down, lift up, come down.
Yep, perfect. Yeah, whatever description you can use to get people to feel what it feels like. And somebody might say something like that to you, and you go, cool, think of that. And then you might even use it for them later. You might say, okay, remember, Jan, remember your puppet feet. Remember how those are working. So, you know, that those verbal cues are helpful. And if you can be unique with somebody, that's very powerful. Good job. Okay. Okay. Let's talk about the chi walking arm string. I'm going to go to, where are we? What lesson are we in? What lesson are we in? Are we in lesson 3? Oh goodness. Okay, let's go into
We're
lesson.
still in 3.
I'm going to go, Vince, we only got to lesson 4.
You'll be like, you're kidding.
Probably. Okay, so let's talk about, oh, wait a second. Yeah, let's talk about, I want to talk, okay, I'm thinking in my head what I want to make sure we get through in the next 15 minutes. I'm going to go to lower body focuses here. This is lesson number 4, and I'm still screen sharing so you guys can see what I'm looking at. Okay, and basically this is the same thing as what we've been talking about, moving your dantian. So I think it just goes into bigger detail. There's one thing in here I want to make sure that we go through. Yeah, we've talked about all this already. Walking in place. Here we go. So this is where we get into the difference between walking conventionally and walking chi walking wise. This one right here. So all the stuff right here in the screen is above. It's all described. So I want us to look at this quickly. So because you've gone over it last week, you went over it today. And this is part of your quiz. So you're going to need to know the differences between chi walking and conventional walking. And the best way to do that is for you to switch off And when you practice, walk conventionally, in other words, walk how you normally walk, and then switch to chi walking and notice the differences. These are the differences right here, okay? So you'll notice that in conventional walking, your stride is longer, and in chi walking, your stride is shorter. In regular walking, you straighten that lead leg. So it's out here because you're reaching forward instead of falling forward. In chi walking, your leg is always bent. In conventional walking, you're landing on the back of your heel because once again, you're reaching forward. So your heel, what we used to call heel striking, okay? In chi walking, you're landing on the front of your heel. In conventional walking, you're going to push off, right? You're pushing off. Why? Because you're not cooperating with gravity. You're pushing against gravity in order to move forward. So you have to push. And in chi walking, because you're falling forward, what are you doing? You're just lifting your legs to keep up with your fall. Your core isn't engaged. You feel yourself pushing off. You feel tension in your feet and legs. So let's do that. Having just reviewed those things, stand up and let's chi walk and conventional walk so you can feel what we just talked about. That's important. Once you teach people the 4 steps of chi walking, you guys, and you're having them walk around the room, you know, you're having them chi walk for the first time, and you're just telling them to gently swing their arms. They're noticing how different this is. Okay. And then you can tell them to walk normally. Okay. Or walk how they usually walk. So I'm going to do this quickly. Check in with your column. Start walking in place. Relax your feet. Let your toes drop. Focus your mind on your center, on your dantian, and fall forward from your center. Okay? Now you'll notice a couple things. You're walking with a shorter stride. That's the biggest one. And you're moving forward. If you stopped your legs, what would happen? That's a question. If I stop my legs, what would happen? If I stop moving my legs, what would happen?
You're going to fall forward.
Exactly. Okay, now I want you to switch to regular walking. You're trying to get to a meeting as fast as you can. And what do? What happens?
My legs get stiffer and
Yeah.
straighter for sure.
Okay, what else? What else? Keep walking like
Stride gets longer.
Yes. Good. What else? What else happens when you're walking normally? What's different?
I definitely heel strike.
Good.
My core is not engaged.
Ah, very good. What else? What's going on with your feet?
Oh, heel comes down first, back of the heel.
Oh, okay, good. What else?
I don't know.
If you're not using your dantian to pull you forward, how are you going forward?
Yeah,
I'm
my feet
reaching
are
with
going
my
forward.
feet, my legs. My legs
Yeah.
are pushing me forward.
Right, and how are you doing that? You're pushing off. That's the answer I'm looking for. You're pushing off with your legs, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, now go back to chi walking. Chi walking. So check in with your posture. Fall forward from your center. What's happening?
I feel lighter.
Okay, Good. What's going on with your feet?
They're underneath me and pushing more. I can feel the floor going backwards.
Good. Yeah. Yeah. Lengthen from the crown of your head. I know you got a small space in there, but try and focus, not right in front of your feet, but out more like, so your eyes or your chin is level. Lengthen from the crown of your head. Good. Okay, stop for a second. I don't think Vince taught you the walking backwards. Did we talk? Have you guys learned that?
Yeah, well, a little bit.
Okay.
It was
So
the same stride. It helps you figure out your stride.
Yes, but it also helps your alignment, right? So if you have people walk backwards, what happens? If you walk backwards, it automatically puts you in the correct alignment. So naturally, when people walk backwards, what do? They bend over a little bit, right? So if you walk backwards and you have people stop here, so you can see that my body is at an angle. I'm not here. I'm here. So everybody do that, you guys. Walk backwards, and stop in that alignment right here. Okay. Now don't change your alignment and start chi walking forward. Notice how your dantian is automatically pulling you forward as you cooperate with gravity. Yes?
Yeah, it's a very subtle, it's a very little bend, not much,
Correct.
but there is a bend. Yep, that's very helpful.
Good. Yeah, practice that one, because a lot of times when people aren't understanding this moving from your center, that clicks for them. It's like, you want me to fall forward. And remember, if you're working with older people or you're working with people who are, younger, but they're rehabbing and they can, they're just learning to walk, they don't want to fall. So falling from your center is a scary thing. So this is another way of saying it, and falling maybe is not the word you want to use ever. You don't see it in the script. It's moving from your center, moving from your dantian. But if you have people that are coordinated and are, have a good sense of balance, you can certainly use the word fall. I worked with a woman recently, a good friend of mine. She's 75, 76 years old, and was very athletic in her younger life, but has let things go. But she still walks. But that was the first thing she told me, is I'm afraid of falling. So teaching her how to move from her center and keeping her stride short was really critical. Okay. Okay, so I want you to review, watch these videos. They're good too. There's the walk backwards description, how to do them. Oh, that last sentence, that's a good one. It helps them relax into the feeling of having their shoulders farther forward than they are probably used to. So practice that one. Your shoulders being in front of your dantian is what gives people that sense of relaxation as they move forward aligned. So yeah, review that one really well, you guys. That one's really important. I'm going to go back up here to pelvic rotation and the pool drill. We're supposed to do that one today, and we only have 7 minutes left. So we're gonna
The pool drill.
Yeah, the pool drill.
Diving.
Yeah. So the pool drill basically is, you're a little kid at the pool and you get out of the locker room and you want to get to the diving board as fast as you can before the rest of the kids. And so you're walking as fast as you can because you know that the lifeguard is going to tell you to walk. Okay. So what naturally happens when people walk fast is their pelvis rotates.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I want you guys to practice that. That's your homework. Pelvic rotation is a natural thing to do. Let's see if I can do it. If you can see, I don't know if you can see me. I'm not walking very fast, but you may be able to see my hips rotating. Okay, I'm actually walking in place, but you can see my hips rotating. This is a natural movement for humans. Some people do it really well. I can do it backwards or forwards. Some people don't, especially men. They get embarrassed doing this.
Mhm.
I think Vince was talking to you guys about the salsa dancing.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, this kid who came up from Mexico, adorable, just a stud, muscular, sweet man. And I'm telling you, I remember I told you about having a needle the size of a plank. This kid, I watched him run and he was like running so stiff because he's so strong. He just, very strong. And it's very hard to get very strong, fit people to relax. And we went salsa dancing and I got to dance with him. And that kid, he's only 35. He was doing the salsa and teaching me how to do the salsa. And I'm like, I go, Juan, bring that into your chi running, just like Vince described. And sure enough, the next day he had relaxed completely. It was amazing. So the whole pelvic rotation thing, practice, you guys. Just go out. Don't worry about the whole chi walking thing, relaxing your feet. Just think, okay, I'm going to walk as fast as I can to get to the diving board before my buddies and see what happens to your hips. Okay. You can do it conventional. You can do it conventional walking just as easily. In fact, when you do this with your students, I tell them to forget everything I just told you. Don't worry about relaxing your ankles or your column or anything. I said, I just want you to walk as fast as you can. And if you show them this exercise, you just came out of the locker room and you want to get to the diving board first, show them what it looks like. I go, okay, this is what it looks like, you guys. I want to get to the diving board first. Here I go. And you walk as fast as you can, and they'll see you rotating your hips. And they may or may not do it, but you can point it out to them. Look at how my hips go in order for me to go as fast as I can. So practice that, because when you try and get people to do pelvic rotation, it's hard for them to focus on it. When you're practicing arm swing or when you're showing them chi walking, you get pelvic rotation in your own body and they may mimic you. A lot of people will. They'll just go, oh, look at that. Okay, well, I'm just going to do that. And they'll move their pelvis. Okay. So, all right. Between the two of you, have you guys practiced pelvic rotation?
Yes.
Okay. Good. Another way to practice it is with your arm swing, right? So let me see you guys swing your arms and let me see some pelvic rotation. Okay. Good, Allison. Oh, we need to work on arm swing with you for sure. Okay, just stand in one place, Jan, and let me see pelvic rotation. Can you just stand and swing your arms? Jan, come back.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm back. What did you just say?
I said, can you just stand in one place and swing your arms and show me
Oh,
pelvic rotation?
sorry.
That's
Okay.
okay.
Sure.
That's okay. Just do that. Yeah. Swing your hips. Just stand in one place. Okay. All right. Let's look at this. So your hips, Jan, instead of your hips doing this, this is not pelvic rotation. So you're actually rotating around, you're actually rotating around where your dantian is, where T12 meets L1. Okay, so it's a twist. So do the twist like the dance
Okay.
exercise. Okay, do that, you guys, both of you. Let's see you twist. Okay. Better. Yeah, Allison, I think you got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so Jan, turn to the side. And I want you to just twist your hip. Can you see how my hips twist?
You don't want me to move my knees, just twist
No,
the hip?
nope. Yeah, your knees should be straight. Keep your knees straight.
Okay. That
Don't
was
move
the
your
problem.
knees. There, that's better. That's better. No, good. That's pretty good, Allison. Okay, let's talk about arm swing real quick, and then I'll say goodbye. I know it's at the top of the hour. Arm swing, you guys. When you swing your arms, there's a range of motion here. So everybody stand and follow me. Okay, we're gonna do this quickly. Bring your arms up to 90 degrees. Okay. Good. Notice that my elbow is right alongside my hip. When I'm totally relaxed, it's not out here, it's not back here, right? Just from here to here, it's relaxed. Your arm swing, the range of motion is from wrist to elbow, aligned with your hip. Wrist to elbow.
Ah, okay.
Wrist to elbow. And
Great.
notice that my arm is always at 90 degrees. It never drops.
Yep.
Okay, and it's not pumping. So Allison, turn sideways so I can turn sideways, Allison, so I can see your arm swing. Yep, now swing your arms. Okay, not bad, but your wrist is dropping. So don't let your wrist drop below the level of your hip. So it's from here to here.
So what Vince told us last week was that it was dependent upon pacing.
Yes.
So, yeah, so it could go anywhere from relaxed to 45 degrees to 90.
Correct. And be careful with that. Because if you tell people they can do that, when they start going fast, the arms will stay down here. So, yes, that's true. Let me see what the script says. I'm concerned about, because we've gone back and forth from having people gradually bring their arms up to 90, like you just described, or having people bring them up to 90 no matter what. And I think okay, we'll just do this one. I can't find it. I think for practical purposes, you guys, I would practice at 90 degrees. I don't see it in here. I can't find it real quickly, but I would practice at 90 degrees. And the reason why is because it gives you a set rule book, so to speak. You have to keep, we want you to swing your arms rearward with a rearward effort and relax going forward. Rearward effort and relax going forward. That's really important. If people are coming out here, or if they're moving their arms down here, and they're going really fast, and their arms are down here, it's not efficient. So
Yeah, that was helpful, what you just said.
Okay,
So,
good.
effort
So,
back, relax forward.
correct.
That's helpful.
Good. I mean, you can, if you're, when you're first teaching people chi walking and you're going, okay, I want you to move your dantian ahead of your feet. I mean, their arms are just going to be like this because they're going to be walking really slow like this. They're trying to figure out, okay, what's this look like? Okay, and then as people feel more comfortable moving from their center, you can tell them, just let your arms swing gently at your sides because they're going so slow, right? And then you start telling, okay, well, how do you go faster? Well, how do you go faster, you guys, in chi walking?
You move your arms.
Good. You move your arms. What else?
Lean forward more.
Okay, a little bit, but what's really the key to going faster in chi walking?
Move your dantian faster.
Well, you're moving forward to a certain point, but here's the answer. You increase your cadence. You make your
Increase your
feet
cadence. Yeah.
you make your feet go faster.
That's too obvious,
I know, right?
right? That cannot be the answer.
Right? So your stride stays the same in chi walking, right? And people are going to naturally start feeling more comfortable as they're moving forward, and they're going to want to go faster. You say, okay, well, if you want to go faster, just keep moving around the room and keep falling forward. If you want to go faster, just make your feet go faster. That's cadence, guys. Yeah. And then you can say, well, if you're going really fast, then you can bring your arms up. Because a short pendulum is easier to move than a longer pendulum. Okay? So everybody stand up. I know, I keep lying. We're going over. But we started really late because we had technical problems. Okay. So just move your arms straight, swinging back and forth, and then move them as fast as you can. Move them really fast. Now bend your arms. It's easier, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so more efficient. So the thing to do is to just practice with your arms at 90. All right, I'm over time. Woohoo!
You're gonna keep me out.
This exam, this little quiz we're having,
Yeah.
is that on lesson up to lesson 5? Is it including lesson 5?
I want to say that's why I'm nervous about what I just taught you guys tonight, because I want to say it's up to lesson 6. I'm pretty sure. So let's see, because we were supposed to do lesson 4, 5, and 6, and we really haven't done well. The last lesson 6 is bringing it all together, which we've kind of put it together tonight, but I don't know that I really feel like I've done a thorough job with you. I think we've covered the bases, we've covered a lot, but I'm not feeling good about the fact that you haven't taught that much. I wish I could have spent more time having you teach. But sometimes it's important to go over these things thoroughly. And I think what we'll do is probably next week. Let's see, how are we going to do this? I think next week, I'll just let Vince know how we did, and he'll release the quiz after the class. So next week is supposed to be lesson 7. Sometimes during these instructor trainings, we get behind, and that's just what happens. And I think we're a little bit behind today because I wanted, we kind of lost about 25 minutes getting Jan on. So I'd like to, I'll tell Vince what happened. We're a little bit behind, and we need to, do more of lesson 4, 5, and 6 next week, and then have him, and then we'll have to jam together some stuff going forward. So with that said, please practice and review lessons 4, 5, and 6, and let me know if you have any questions, and I'll advocate for you. And then Jan, please try and get on time next week. So
I will. Yes.
So we don't lose time, because I feel like we yeah. So we'll do that, and I'll let Vince know what happened and how we did tonight. I think the biggest thing I would tell you to do is go through the lessons thoroughly, learn the differences between chi walking and conventional walking, and practice those so you can really feel them. Practice the 4 steps. How do you set people up to chi walk? And, you know, if you ground yourself in that really well, you'll be fine next week and be able to teach. Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Oh, the last thing I was supposed to tell you, Vince told me to remind you, he'd like to see videos of you guys. And if you could, again, even though Vince and I are switching off, if you can send your video to both of us, that would be
Okay.
great, of chi walking. It'd be really useful if you could do, you know, chi walking slow, chi walking faster. You know, again, do that, do a half circle if you can. You know, if you have somebody to help you film you, that would be great. Do a half circle and then front to back would be useful. And then send it on. Okay, you guys, thanks for your patience and being on late.
No problem.
All righty. Any
Thank you,
questions?
Cheryl.
You're welcome. All right, you
Have a
guys.
nice week, guys.
All right, you too.
Yay, you too. All right, see you guys. Bye.